play something for y'all in the meantime.
The God, y'all know what time it is. What's the word, bro?
I'm good, man. Yourself?
Yes, sir. I'm good.
Good stuff. So, all sorted out. How's the day been anyway?
It's good, bro. It's good. Just getting started for real.
Yeah, I've had a nice day today. So, man, let me introduce you. So, I started watching your TikToks, right? When I started getting into spirituality, and they've helped so much regarding the things you don't really see much, because everyone is talking about love and light, and that is the main, basis of spirituality. But you go deep into etymology and words, and it's so good to learn all of this spiritual wisdom. So thank you so much for all of that. Can I ask you, how did you actually get into etymology and the study of words? I just want to hear how you got your expertise.
I started off a while ago, like just over time I started picking up knowledge, you know what I'm saying? I always been into words. I always been making music, so putting together words was never hard for me. And I seen this video on YouTube, and it was of this lady like just talking about how we greet each other in the morning. Like when you say good morning, like morning is actually what you do when you go to a funeral. You know what I'm saying? A wake is where a funeral is held. So it's like in the morning you waking up and you automatically starting your day with this negative energy. So I already knew, as I started getting out of religion and more into spirituality, I started seeing the differences between, like, I obviously knew something was up with the world, so I just started looking at it from a deeper perspective. And then the words just start showing themselves to me. So I just started looking more into words. I started reading up in books and just starting to see like how everything is broken down. Like even the word "bye" comes from the word lullaby, which means to put somebody to sleep. Like we think that "bye" is a word that's separate from lullaby, and you're really lulling somebody to sleep. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's how they keep us in this subconscious mindset. Or like even the word "you," for example, "you" is a sheep.
Yes.
And they call people, they say we're sheep, the people that don't know, outside of us, like we're the black sheep, obviously, but you is a sheep. So, a lullaby, a sheep, and this shit is all coming to me right now, honestly, right now. Like the sheep, like even when you asleep, they show sheep. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit is crazy in itself.
It says
I just started looking
to count. So I remember being told as a kid to count sheep when you're trying to sleep. But let me put it into perspective for everyone watching here. So words are, of course, energy. And one of the Bible verses, which is extremely important in the creation of the world, was the beginning was the Word. And the Word was God, or was with God. God is a creative, infinite spirit. And you speaking are creating as you speak. Abracadabra means literally create as you speak. Did you know about that? I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
So for anyone who doesn't know, you're literally creating your reality when you speak. And the God here, he really breaks down all the words we use on our day-to-day basis and how it's subconsciously affecting our reality. See, the English language is extremely tied to the physical. We have words that describe the physical reality, but we only have a handful of words that describe emotion. Like there's like 5 words to describe emotion, but we can experience many more emotions than we do, which is why people struggle to express themselves. So, the God here just basically teaches you the words you should be using and the words that are tied into a negative frame. So, have you got any other words that we use on a day-to-day basis that we should probably stop using, or we should evolve when we speak?
Um, honestly, like I'm learning them more and more every day. But what I
Yes.
could say is that I also wanted to say one thing about like how you were saying God is the word and how they say that in the Bible. If you remove the word W and you put L, it's Lord. So
Mm.
anywhere where it says word, you can put L and it's Lord. So, but it's a lot of words in the English language that are like that you have to just look at. You have to really sit down and think about what you say before you say it and what you're saying. Like you can beat somebody to damn near death and they'll heal. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
All their physicality will heal. But
Exactly.
it's the psychological part after it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's the
it's how you
psychological
attach.
part that takes longer to heal. You know what I'm
It's how
saying?
you attach
And
to that.
even with
Yeah.
words, like words are if not more powerful than the stuff you do, they're just as equal because you can hit somebody and they'll heal, but what you say to somebody will stick to you forever. It's stuff that people said to you when you was a little kid that you still remember to this day and you live off of and think about how much that changed you. So when you calling when you call somebody something or when you say something like if you call somebody out of their name, just know that your brain processes that and it stores it like a computer. Your brain is a computer and it does not know the difference between good or bad. So when you calling your homie a bitch, his brain is accepting that. And
Yeah.
when y'all make it an okay thing to every day call each other a bitch or a hoe ass nigga and shit like that, your brain is accepting that. And then that's what you will become. You feel me? So your brain is a soil and it plants seeds. It's
Mm.
just like the earth. You don't the earth doesn't know if it's a thorn bush or if it's a tulip. It's gonna plant and it's gonna grow whatever you nourish and whatever ideas you plant. When you plant an
And this
idea
is
in your
wisdom.
brain,
This is wisdom, guys. Listen up. Stay tuned to what he's saying because it goes deep. If
no
anyone who
cap.
doesn't think it's deep, literally search up any word in the dictionary. You see how it's broken up into different these small segments of the word. I'm not really sure, like the subheadings or whatever you call them. They're tied down from languages that were ancient, and they use fewer words to describe what they're talking about. So this is all subconscious. We're all mostly subconscious. So the words we do use to have an effect. And we had a discussion at first, and it was about the words we use. I think we spoke about a word that we use that. Oh, that's it. When someone says something is cool, like really, like oh, it's so cool. Have you noticed how
Hold
slang,
on.
when you say it's cool, people say that was sick? You
Oh
ever
yeah,
realize that the words that have been
yeah.
changed into a negative sort of vibration because sickness is disease, it's
It,
basically unhealth. Yeah, it's the opposite of
exactly.
health, and we are healthy. We are naturally we are of God. So when we're speaking that, we're basically cursing. And I'm not sure there's a language called cursive as well, which also ties in. It's all linked. Very interesting.
Exactly. Like when people say I'm sick or when they joke around and they laughing and they say I'm dead, you're
Mm,
subconsciously killing yourself. You know what I'm saying? And with slang it's even deeper because I believe that slang is us breaking out of the negative frequency that we in,
mm,
which the language we speak is the alphabet, and the alpha and beta are the two lowest frequencies that you can be on. So the alphabet in itself is already low frequency. So subconsciously, it's like when we first started saying cool. We first started saying cool, then it became cold, then it became icy, then it you know what I'm saying? It Our brain will make connections, and this is where trends and slang comes from. It's a lot deeper than what y'all really think. So first is I'm crying, or no, first is I'm weak, then it's I'm crying, now it's I'm dead. You know what I'm saying? Like
mm.
your brain is able to process and take it to the next level without you saying it. So now, like even our language is very sexualized. Like when people say like fuck you, you know what I'm saying? Like that's very sexual statement. And your brain
Yeah,
is able to um to process it. It's crazy. It's about knowing how your brain works, because once you know how your brain works and you're conscious of it, your subconscious reprogramming starts. So y'all probably asking like, well, damn, why are you saying all of this? Why are you breaking all these words? I never knew this before. No, you knew it. You just weren't aware that your brain was processing it. And now that we letting you know that your brain is processing it, you can create a new field of energy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To kind of push back these words, but it's just you have to be conscious of what you're saying because our language is very sexual. So it'll start off as like this, like this bitch fucking sweet. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
everything that we say, but it's not something that we are conscious of. You know what I'm saying? It's something that gets subconsciously programmed because on a day-to-day basis, you being subconsciously programmed to be over sexual when it comes to shapes, when it comes to logos, everything that you see, you know what I'm saying, is in your brain. But as going back to that's good. That's good.
Yeah, that's good. The word is a symbol almost. Everything is symbolic. Like the world communicates to you through symbols. And before you got into this, you obviously have had a spiritual awakening, such as almost everyone on this page who follows me, because it's all something that we have experienced to have this level of understanding. How did you personally have your awakening? How did it plan? How did it pan out?
So this is actually an interesting story. So when I was
Okay.
young, bro, I used to be on the game all the time, and
Mm.
we used to just be on Call of Duty. We used to be on Naruto. We used to be on Black Ops. That's what we was on. So my homeboy, Marcel, he actually lived in Florida, and you know when you on the game, you get cool with niggas over time. Like you know what I'm saying? Y'all build a friendship and shit. So I didn't known him for years. You know what I'm saying? And we used to always play the game. And then after I got out of high school, he had sent me over this video, and it was called Light Codes, and it was by Young Pharaoh. And so he was just talking about like how like the sun literally, you literally communicate with the sun, and the sun is energy. Like if y'all don't know the sun, there's something called the electromagnetic spectrum, and the electromagnetic spectrum is electricity and magnetism. Electricity is masculine energy, magnetism is feminine energy, and within the electromagnetic spectrum, the basically the electromagnetic spectrum is everything that exists. It's the spectrum of which everything exists. And you got radio waves, you got at the beginning, you got like infrared rays, then you got like X-rays, and then you got something called visible light. And it's a small part of the spectrum. And that visible light is where we see everything. You know what I'm saying? Visible light is where all the colors exist on the spectrum. So you only exist in this part of the electromagnetic spectrum. So when
Wow.
they talk about like when you go to the doctors and you get or the dentist and you get an X-ray done and they put that metal sheet over you, they're sending waves through your body and it's interacting with your body in a certain way and it's able to pick up images, but it's a way that you can't see. So that proves that there's phenomena that's going on outside of your day-to-day existence. It's colors that you can't see, it's sounds that you can't hear, and there's other physicalities that exist. So that, and he was just talking about how our bodies pick up energy from the sun, and you know how it has to do with our melanin and just our day-to-day lifestyle period. And that from that, you know what I'm saying? And he was talking about veganism and how we're supposed to eat alkaline foods and our body is supposed to be water based. From that point, it was like, okay, damn, this is some information that I never received. Like I never knew any of this before. This is shit niggas is not talking about. So after that, I ended up going on to this. And during this time, I was very religious. I'm talking about just got saved in the church, just gave my life over to Jesus. I'm in the church. I'm bringing my friends to church. Like, y'all got to come get saved. Like,
Wow.
I'm really in the church. Like, I'm really giving my life over to God. And then I go on YouTube and then I watch this video called Zeitgeist. And Zeitgeist is on Netflix. And everybody keeps saying I'm promoting Netflix. I'm not promoting Netflix, but they just got some good shit on there.
Zeitgeist,
But
you can find that on YouTube. Zeitgeist 2007. It's amazing. Is it about the correlation between the Jesus story and astrology?
Exactly.
Amazing.
And basically, I was watching that. Watching that video. And it's like a documentary or whatever, and it was just comparing Jesus to all these other cultures and gods that are exactly like Jesus, but came way before Jesus's time.
Yes.
And that's the thing, like with religion in the Bible only is up to a span of like 6,000 years. In order for the Bible to exist, you would have to say that this was the only time frame, right? And that was the time frame. That was the time frame that Europeans were taking over America. You know what I'm saying? And when Europeans got into power, so no disrespect to any other race or nothing like that, but this is just history, and this is what happened. And that's when the spiritual and religious belief system was manipulated. Okay, so watching Zeitgeist and seeing that, oh, there's another entity that was 10,000 years ago, and we talking about science. You know, when you go to study a structure or a pyramid, you can carbon date something, and carbon dating is where they look at a certain element inside of a sculpture or a rock or whatever, and they can date. Like, that's how they tell how long water would, how, if there was water in a certain place or if it wasn't, because the erosion on the mountains and stuff. So it'll show that it was 10,000, 100,000 years ago. So when you start looking at science and you start looking at the stuff that's in the Bible, it does not make sense. It does not add up when you can prove something scientifically. And science, I've heard some people say science is man-made. Science is not man-made. Science is understanding why a lighter flick creates a spark of fire, and being able to deduce it and determine it and recreate it. That's what science is. Not this sci-fi shit y'all seeing on TV. That's not what science. Science is being able to break down and prove something that is true. So, you know, when you have documents that are saying something else and nothing can validate what it's saying versus some stuff that's true and you can fully see it, that's when it starts clicking. But you have to have your mind open enough to say, you know what? And this is how I went about my quest, because like I said, I was very religious at the time. So I was like, okay, you know, I seen all this information, and dude, after I watched it, I just broke down like, yo, like this shit makes too much sense for me to deny it. Like, as much as I don't want to believe that it's true, it's not true. It's just not true. And my brain just was like, it was like, okay. So now from this point, I'm just like, I'm praying. I'm like, okay, I'm asking God. I said, I prayed that night. I asked God, I said, Jesus, I said, I believe in you. I love you. And, you know, I don't ever want to go against your word, because, you know, in the Bible, they teach you to not go against God or not to question God. And I sat and I thought about this for so long. Like, I thought and I sat about it and I said, would I be wrong to do further study into this? But then I said, this would only strengthen my belief in God. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously at this point in my life, I don't know what's true or what's wrong. So the only way that I'm going to figure out if this is true is if I go on that quest to see if it's not true. You know what I'm saying? So I asked God, I said, God, if you are real, lead me to you. When I tell you, I never found that nigga, and my life has been better ever since. Like, just on some real shit. Like, it just is what it is. The conclusion did not come to that, y'all. I done been in the church. I done been saved. All of it. I done felt it, but that wasn't the reality that I was faced with. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't caught the Holy Ghost, or what they call the Holy Ghost. So I know that when people say that they catch that or they start speaking in tongues, that shit is real. That shit is very real. It's not a joke. That's your spirituality. But that's the same thing that Africans are doing when they dancing around the fire and they speaking and they yelling. But it's just interpreted differently, because your view on the world and your perspective on the world has been shifted to make anything that's not Christian or religious look demonic. And this is where they got it from. All right. So it's like, after a while, you know what I'm saying? It took me to just really analyzing it, and just like catching the Holy Ghost, I'm like, that's something that I actually caught. After I caught the Holy Ghost, I felt drunk. I felt high. I felt like I didn't want to talk to nobody because I didn't want to lose that feeling. So I knew it was a real thing. But that's what happens when you surrounded by your people and all your people are on one accord and that music is playing. You know what I'm saying? That music stimulates you. And the thing is, in church, they're going to tell you that that's another person that's creating that energy for you. And that energy can only come when you on good terms with this dude. You know what I'm saying? But in actuality, that energy can be stimulated and tapped into at any time. It's just you don't know it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's like Neo in the Matrix. Like Neo didn't know he could block bullets because he was not aware of it at the time. He had this whole mentality that none of that was possible and none of that was real until he tapped in and realized, like, wow, like this makes sense. So, you know, when it comes to catching the Holy Ghost and the Spirit like that, y'all need to study music. Everywhere that you go, there's music. Music is a big part of your life. When you walk into a store, there's music playing because certain music will influence you to buy stuff. You can
Ooh.
say, shake that asshole, shake that asshole, shake that asshole on a song, and it will be okay. But the moment that you say that without a beat playing, it's like, what did you just say? Like, you could damn near get your ass beat just for saying something like that. So you
Yeah.
got to realize that's how powerful music is. I have the ability to say something that I would never say face to face with somebody without a frequency
Wow.
playing behind it that I could say on a song. So that's a big thing when you in church. That when that music start playing, it's on a certain frequency, certain keys, certain scales. I'm a musician, so I know certain keys, certain scales stimulate certain chakras in your body. They stimulate certain bones. They do all type of stuff. Why do you think a song can be sad or it can be happy? It's because they know these frequencies and it's being manipulated all around. So,
Wow, man,
but
you're preaching.
that man,
You're
that was
preaching,
that
man.
was like my entrance journey into like spirituality and looking into other stuff. And then I just started reading books and looking into other stuff because, like they say if you want to hide it from a nigga, put it in a book, and that's a fact because you know like that niggas is not reading. They not reading, and all the information is in there. And that's another thing. A lot of people not even reading the Bible. 99% of the people in the church have not. I ain't gonna say 99, but 90% of the people in the Bible in the church have not read the Bible.
Mm.
They haven't, and that's just they're listening to what somebody else is saying, and they're taking their word for it. You know what I'm
So,
saying? That's really what it is. There is some people that study the Bible and that read the Bible, but you know,
so the Bible, right? I have the New Testament and Palms. If I was to read all of this on my own accord, from my own understanding, will I receive the Holy Ghost or whatever that perception of like a spiritual awakening is?
I feel like it's a you mean like a spiritual awakening or the Holy Ghost?
Yeah, explain the Holy Ghost and explain how to receive it.
I feel like in my experience, I've received the Holy Ghost when I felt at a piece of place, at a peace, and when I was surrounded by people that were pushing that energy out towards me, and when there was music playing, that's when I felt it. So I feel like that would be the state to achieve it. Now I can't say this for anybody else because everybody's experience is different. Some people may experience the Holy Ghost from reading the Bible. Now, as far as do I think reading the Bible will bring you some type of enlightenment or will bring you some type of knowledge? Of course, the Bible has great information in it. I'm not saying that the Bible is false. I'm not saying that it is wrong. I'm just saying that the way that you're interpreting the Bible, 9 times out of 10, was not how it was intended to be interpreted. There's a face value, and then there's another meaning behind it. Like people are reading the Bible from the perspective that people are reading the Bible from the perspective of the stories that they tell, but the stories have messages behind them. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you tell the story of Cinderella or something. It's lessons and stuff in that story, but just
Yes.
like how in the Bible, like for example, you look at the 12 disciples, you know, as Jesus. You know what I'm saying? As his people that followed him, and you look at these people as human beings and you believe that they were actual people that it happened, but that's not the real case. The 12 disciples or the 12 zodiacs that was around Jesus is the son. That's why they call Jesus the son of God. The Holy
Yep.
Bible translates in Latin to Helios Biblios. Helios means son, Biblios means book. So the Bible
Wow.
is about the son. So you're reading the son book. That's why Jesus is the son of God. That's why pictures of Jesus are depicted with a sun behind Jesus' head like this. You know what I'm saying? And Jesus is the sun in the middle, and the 12 zodiacs around are the 12 zodiacs that follow him. These are the 12 constellations that travel around the son of God. they call the Son of God, like I said before, the Son gives you information. And ancient Egyptians, they knew that they could receive information from God. Egyptians had melanin in their skin. Melanin is the chemical that gives you the brown color in your skin or any color on you at all. And they knew how it interacted with their being. So when they tell when somebody who knows the real meaning, they can just tell the story of Jesus. Like they, for example, when we were talking and we were faced with a situation in life that may be adverse, I might say to you, well, think of it as Jesus and his disciples. And in your brain, you process, oh, the sun, the 12 zodiacs around the stars. You know what I'm saying? That's the information that's being left out with the Bible. So if you only know one part of it, you reading it from the wrong spectrum. Like how I said, you can replace the word Lord or word with Lord. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't know that, when you read in the Bible, you missing processed information, and that's a part of the reason why the Bible is confusing, because it's not meant to be read like that. Another thing, the Bible isn't meant to be read straight through from front to back.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? So there's no instructions on that. Where's the instructions on how to read this? There's no
right.
spirituality. They're not talking about science in the Bible. Where's the science at in the Bible? With certain stories that don't make sense. Like Noah's Ark. Noah had to put 2 of every species on a boat. Now, that's impossible because you have insects, you have whales, you have animals that live in different environments. You got aquatic animals, you got animals that can only live in certain temperatures. You have herbivores, you got omnivores. So on this boat, you would have had to have some type of thermostat. You would have had to have, you got rats, rabbits, fucking spiders on this boat. Like, there's no way that you can contain every species and feed them within an amount of time for them all to survive. That scenario is unlikely. You had to go capture these animals. 2 of y'all cannot capture a gorilla. There's no way 2 people are capturing a gorilla, especially
It just
2 of
shows,
them.
yeah, the scientific.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, it doesn't add up.
But they'll teach you that not to question God or not to use the deductive part of your brain to understand what you're talking about, to understand what's going on, because in your mind, they have already told you that you're going to go to hell if you do this. And in the back of your mind, you done watched all these scary movies as a little kid. First, when you was born, you was baptized, you was already spiritual. You know what I'm saying? It's like the story of Santa Claus. You really thought Santa Claus was real. And you would probably still think Santa Claus was real if nobody told you that he wasn't, or you didn't get all the clues together. You would still think he was a real person coming down the chimney, like, yeah, if everybody believed him. But if it wasn't for the fact that we tested the theory to see, all right, we about to see if he come down this chimney or not. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't come down the chimney. Now you knew he wasn't real. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with religion. It's something that's been put onto you as soon as you was born. You were raised up in the church with all these ideas, these mentalities. When you was in church, you was asleep. You was forced to go to church. You didn't have a choice. All this shit was forced upon you before you even had a decision to say, well, I don't even know if I want to be a Christian. I don't even know if I want to be Muslim. How do we know that these other religions aren't true? You know what I'm saying? What if I was born in China and I wasn't introduced to Christianity? Am I going to hell? A lot of shit just don't start making sense. And none of that information you can find in the Bible. They're not going to tell you what happens to the Asian kid that don't know about Christianity because his parents only taught Buddhism. They're not gonna know. You know what I'm saying? All those instructions aren't there.
Yeah, that's so true. Especially the fact that people are going around with their own belief systems and they're basically saying others are wrong, they're wrong, but that all just comes from the ego and the way they've been brought up and what they've learned. So if the truth is subjective, then it's not the full truth, in my opinion. It cannot. If there is someone else who is going to oppose it, ridicule it, then it's not the full truth, because truth is like oneness. And there's a book I read called Within You is a Power that quotes, the truth is in the silence. And if you go deeper into that, it's like the truth is with just you. Like there is you are all there is.
When you close your eyes and you block out everything that's going on outside, all the answers will come to you. People always ask, how do I know what to do? What should I do? Close your eyes and the answer is going to come to you. 9 times out of 10, the voice in the back of your head is already saying what you need to do. You would be sitting down, you know what I'm saying, just chilling, and then you'd be like, damn, I just feel lazy as hell. And then in your brain, you will hear something like you need to go work out. But you'll fight that voice in your head like, nah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna just keep chilling. I don't feel like getting up. But your
How
brain is
do you
already telling you.
how do you distinguish between the positive voice in your head and the negative voice?
The best way to distinguish the two is to say them out loud. When you hear the voice in your head saying stuff, say it out loud, and you'll instantly snap out of it like, yeah, that's not me. That's not me. Like
Mm.
if you hear yourself, beating yourself up like I'm not good enough or this and that, say it in a whiny voice like I'm not good enough. I swear to God, you will snap out of it. You will snap out of it instantly like, yeah, bro, that's not me. That's not me.
Yeah,
Like, and
it's the same.
all these
Yeah,
thoughts
sorry, it's
will,
the same philosophy as when
yeah,
you say to your brain like, you say like, okay, brain, or what thought am I gonna have next? It's creating the distance.
yeah, yeah. And just separating like for me it was a time to where I was working a security job for a while. So I was just walking around the hotel and I'm a person that's like very efficient with my time. Like every moment out of the day I'm trying to if I'm waiting in line, I'm trying to upload a video or do something. You know what I'm saying? So when I was in security and I was in the hotels, I was just practicing my breathing. And I would just be walking around the hotel for hours, just breathing in, you know what I'm saying, 10 seconds in, 10 seconds out, raising my frequency. And it just got to a point to where it just felt like my body was just walking on its own. And I was just up
Wow.
here. I was just up
Wow.
here.
Yeah.
And I was trying to read, but I couldn't get caught sitting down. So when I just was here and I wasn't talking to nobody, not listening to no music, the answers just started coming to me. Like it was a point to where I would have to look something up or I would have to read a book. But then it got to a point to where it was like you broke past that point to where now you have enough knowledge to whatever issue is at hand or whatever situation you don't know. If you think about it long enough, you can figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Because even when you learn this stuff from different subjects and different books, they all reference similar information. So once you have that circle of information, it's easy. It's like, all right, now I got this information. I got this information out here. But I just started hearing these. I don't want to sound crazy, but I started hearing these voices in my head from the perspective of that we do on a day-to-day basis. Like when you talk to yourself in your head, or one energy will be beating you up, one energy will be boosting you up, one energy is more sexual, one energy is angry. Like this is the perfect example of what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And these aren't voices in your head, they're aspects of your being. They're different
Wow.
aspects of your being. Your higher self, your lower self, all these different beings. So when you're upset, you have that being in your that aspect of yourself that's just like, no, 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 I'm not doing it. I'm mad. I'm
Yes.
mad. But then you have that other self small up under you that's like, man, you just need to let that shit go. Like it's not even worth it. Like, but the other one is just a mean face, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you
Yeah.
don't want to let it go. And the only thing, like, like when I get upset with my girl, when we get into an argument or whatever, when we real upset and then we just hug, it's like the love overcome the anger. Like that's the
That's
only
actually
thing that can come that evil energy is love. Like it just goes like this feels way better than being angry. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's distinguishing when you're in those states. It's distinguishing that this is something that I'm experiencing and this is not somebody that I am. I'm not angry. I'm just in a state of anger right now. And when you can separate yourself from that energy,
wow.
you can bring yourself back. You know what I'm saying? That's why the Buddhists and people like Sadhguru, they say you have to look at your emotions as your friend. You have to look at them as your friend. And I did not know what they meant by that until like a couple days ago, to where I really made my emotions like I was in a fearful state. And I made my emotions my friend. I'm like, what do they mean by that? I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna address the emotion. I'm like, all right, what's up, fear? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, how you feeling, fear? You cool. You my homeboy. Come out, chill. Like then I was like, damn, I'm not the fear. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. Mm.
this is an emotion. This is somebody that I have to get cool with, because at the end of the day, I'm always going to be interacting with these states of energy. So
Wow.
when they say to make these emotions your friend, they're telling you to separate yourself from separate yourself from them. It's just by saying that, you know, making them your friend, you have to go through that mental process of realizing that, oh, this isn't me. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I was gonna say all of them are helpful. Like all of them are there to help you. And when you, because I believe that love is the key to everything. Like what you said with you and your girlfriend in conflict, and then you hug, and the love overcomes everything. That was beautiful. That was a great like analogy of how love can overcome anything. And that's where I feel like love is the answer. And if everyone knew that, because you can know it conceptually in your head, you can say love is the answer, but when a situation comes to you, you know, you won't intuitively seek out love, because we still view ourselves as separate from whatever is happening. But everything that happens to you, all the voices in your head, all the aspects of yourself, they're all there. You know, it's whether you give energy to it or you just, you know, love it all. And that's what Jesus represented, in my opinion. Love to the end. When he was being executed, when he was, you know, being martyred, I believe it's called.
Exactly.
He loved the people who were doing that to him, because he didn't see anything as separate. And that's the analogy of taking all the sins from the world onto himself, because we see them as sins, we see them as bad, but they're just aspects of God, which is duality, good and evil. It's all one, and love is what brings it all together.
Facts. No, that's true. And
yeah, I have a question for you as well. So it's not really a question, this is more of a statement. So people are waking up and social boundaries are dissolving. And this is a slow process and journey into the universe restoring balance with itself. Are you familiar with the law of one?
You said the lower one?
The law of one.
The law of one?
Yes.
Yes, I'm familiar.
Yes. So that describes everything we're talking about perfectly. It says there are 8 dimensions of consciousness. And if I explained, obviously, consciousness is one thing. Even scientists now are realizing that consciousness does not necessarily come from the brain. It's almost like it's being received from our brains. And there are 8 dimensions of consciousness in the law of one. The first dimension being inanimate objects like rocks or your wall or your phone, anything inanimate, which means like inanimate, where it's not animated, it's not alive, but it's conscious. That is representative of your root chakra. So you see how we have the 7 chakras. That's representative to the 7 dimensions of the consciousness, and the 8th being love and unity and God. So when you start to go up the chakras, you start to go up levels of awareness, levels of consciousness. And when you can raise your energy from your root chakra to your sacral, to your solar plexus, to your heart, and then all the way up to the crown, when you can finally go through that process of aligning the chakras, which is also representative of your soul going through its journeys in life. So it incarnates in a body. And yeah, exactly. So someone says here, your highest being and consciousness is going through these stages. It is evolving. So everything that happens to you is happening for you to eventually reach the highest stage. And we're only in the 3rd dimension right now. So we have a lot of work to do. So
yeah,
it continues, but it's all happening for you. And like I was saying, so we eventually will all become one through just love and oneness. Religion is just, I'm just reading from my notes here just to explain. So religion is like these messages, but for your ego almost, because they'll see these like, for example, Jesus would say, I am God. Everyone shouts blasphemy. But what he meant by I am God, he meant you are God, because Jesus is not speaking from the ego, he's speaking from the heart chakra. He's not speaking from the lower self-awareness sacral chakra area, he's speaking from his heart. So if he says I am God, that means you are God. If he says the kingdom of heaven is within, that means It is within us, not outside of us. And when you're on your journey right now, you know, you clearly are an authentic person. So you have noticed you've broken away from what society has told you to be, and now you are slowly finding your spirituality. What was your journey, and how did you get to this point, and how did you break away from the caring about other people's opinions? How did you break away from that, basically?
Before I go into that, as far as what you were talking about, like the wholeness and the oneness theory, and you know, the connectedness, I feel like love is the only thing that's real. Everything else is an illusion. Like every other experience or emotion is just an illusion. And when I say illusion, it's only because you're experiencing something that you think you're experiencing, because you have been tricked into experiencing that. You know what I'm saying? Like fear is the state of not knowing. When you get scared to go into the woods at nighttime, it's because you're scared you don't know what's in the woods. When
Wow,
when you get ready to go swimming and you scared to jump in the pool, it's because you're scared of what's going to happen, because you don't know what's going to happen in the water. So all these different states of emotion, anger is a state it's just another state like that, because at the end of the day, once you realize that you're connected to everything, then all that other shit will go out of the window, because it's just everything is one. You won't litter on the earth because you realize you are connected with the earth. You will stop harming other people when you realize y'all are all one consciousness. Like just like how you were saying that consciousness isn't something from the brain. It's in one of those 8 dimensions that you were referencing. And that, like when you say the thought just came to me, where did it come from? You know what I'm saying? The thought was manifested from another dimension that's not in the physical realm. It came to you from somewhere else. So when you break those barriers and you start understanding how we're all connected, how everything is one, everything else falls. And once we all realize that, the only emotion there will be is love. Everybody will be loving. Everybody will treat each other as they want to be treated, because we are representations. We are all different aspects of ourselves. We breathe the same air. We're all made of 75% water, and we all drink the same water. The same water that we drink, Shaka Zulu might have been drinking. You know what I'm saying? So you have water holds and stores information. So you have the same information in your genes and in your body. You just have to be aware of it and being able to tap into it. But I forgot what was the question that you asked?
How because linking from how we have to move from separation to love to be able to evolve, how did you start breaking out of your caring for other people's opinions? So obviously there is an extent to where you have to care about other people, but sometimes opinions hold you back and they make you feel separate from yourself and what your true calling is. So how did you break away from that?
I feel like everybody cares what other people think. It's just whether you allow it to affect what you do or not. So first, it comes from going within. You have to really sit down and understand yourself and understand who you are, and realize that everything that you've been taught since the time that you were a child has been taught to you. So the only way that you want to figure out who you are is figuring out who you're not. You know what I'm saying? It's like you think you want to be a doctor, then you start being a doctor, and you're like, yeah, this is not what I want to do. Until it gets narrowed down to a couple things that you like, and you like, okay, this is who I am. You know what I'm saying? All this other stuff is not me. When you start, you know, it's about going in and realizing where these voices are coming from. So first, sit down and figure out what it is you love to do. What's the first thing that comes to your brain? You know what I'm saying? Mine's is music. That's the first thing that comes to my brain. So
what is
music?
Oh, music.
Yep. So like for you, like for anybody, whatever it is you love, you have to really sit down and say, okay, you know, when you, for example, after I make my first song, certain people's voices would pop into my head, and it's like, why am I hearing other people's voices in my head? It's almost like when you about to get in trouble, or you think about doing something, and you will hear what your mom would say. You know what I'm saying? That is a control over you. That is a conscious that is controlling your conscious, and then it's you. You know what I'm saying? It's all these energies, you know, anger, fear, happiness, it's other people's voices, and then it's that neutral you. It's that just solid you, and you have to be able to tap in with that solid you and listen to that
Yes.
voice and understand which one it is. And the way you do that is when you get angry, recognize how you sound when you're angry. Recognize the feeling, be able to distinguish the two or the three or the four. And once you realize that, you'll start realizing who you are, what you want to do. Even the way that you talk, the way that you say certain things have been taught to you. You've been taught to say it like this. So you might not say stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? You might want to say things this way. And that's what you have to, it's a process. So it's, people are always going to care about what other people think, because we live in a society where you should care about what other people think. You know what I'm saying? But it's just about who and how you let it affect you. And you just really have to do self work. Like I feel like I'm just now getting to a place to where I really don't give a fuck about what people think. Like you always, not that I don't really give a fuck about what people think, but I don't let it affect me at all. Like no matter who it is, whether it's my mom, it's my wife, my cousins, my nobody, my friends, nobody, it does not matter, because I have to make my decision based off of my experiences. Somebody may not have went through the jungle and seen the bear trap, so they might think it's a good idea to go that way. But I can't go that way because I know what's down that road. You know what I'm saying? So I can't make a decision for somebody else. You are the only person that is capable of making the best decision for you. Can't nobody else tell you what to do. They can only tell you what they would do in that situation. You get what I'm saying?
Facts.
So that's why you have to surround yourself by like people. If you're not surrounded, if you get ready to surround yourself by somebody and there's a resistance, if you feel that resistance, like
Yeah.
stop hanging around them. You need to hang around people that are exactly like you, Period.
That's so true, man. Honestly, like I've literally been through that because I've always been spending time with friends. For literally 16 years of my life, I was with the same people, and you start to think of yourself as them because you are with them all the time. Your energy start rubbing off. Your belief systems start rubbing off on each other. But there's that always underlying intuitive feeling that this is not who I want to be. But it's there, but you don't ever act on it because people would look at you and think you're crazy for just having this big switch up of personality. Going. I used to go into the woods by myself on college break just to like chill and just think. Like, but I was like, what is happening? Like, I've never done this before. It's just that calling, and it's just look, just take your time, understand that you are your own person, you are your own entity almost, and then everything that you do, all your personalities, it is just parts of yourself. You just need to choose which ones to give energy to. And I'm still in that process because I'm still young and I'm still working it out. But I've definitely become more aware of it, and it's put me in such a better place. So thank you for articulating that. It's really helped.
Of course.
So have you got any messages for anyone who is going through adversity or any mental blockages? And just to quickly quote Jim Carrey.
Wait, hold on. Say it over. I can hear you.
I was saying, have you got any message for anyone going through adversity? And there's a quote I was going to quote from Jim Carrey, who says, "Depression is your character, or is you not wanting to play the character that you've been playing any longer." When you feel it's you bottling in your feelings, your emotions, not understanding your intuitive nature. And when you start becoming depressed and you don't know why, it's because you are not wanting to play. Your soul does not want to play this character anymore. So have you got a message for anyone who's going through these times and how to break away from these mental chains?
Well, depressed that's a good play on words, because depressed is really deep rest, and your body, your spirit is in need of deep rest because it's been strained. When you get depressed, it's because you're being hit by too much shit. And I can understand Jim Carrey's perspective of your character getting tired of doing something, because usually when you get depressed, you're tired of something. You're tired of a situation that keeps occurring. So for anybody that's facing adversity, I would say start practicing meditation, because that is the true to finding yourself. And I know people are like, man, I don't just want to sit down and not try to think about anything, but it's not about not thinking about anything or clearing your mind, because that's not what meditation is. Meditation is honestly the exact opposite of that. I mean, that's one form of meditation, is clearing your mind, but meditation is also allowing everything to come to you and to just understand what it is, what your brain is really focusing on, and to just sit down and to just learn to breathe in and to focus on your breathing, because your monkey mind is that mind that's constantly thinking about certain things. People who go from one thing to the next thing, you got a bad monkey mind. I got a bad monkey mind sometimes. Like,
Same.
I have to be, you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes it overwhelms you until you sit down like, damn, wait a minute, let me just one thing at a time. Like, let me just do this first, then let me do this, then let me do this. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you need that time to where you're just not absorbing anything, because everything that you see outside of you is just a representation of what your brain thinks it's seeing. You get what I'm saying? So
Wow.
until you close your eyes, that's like, for example, you can look at the clouds and you'll start seeing stuff in the clouds because your brain makes connections. So you have
Yeah.
to shut off that connection making process for a certain amount of time. That's why your brain is so active when you sleep, because it's the time that you're shutting off the outside world. You know what I'm saying? And you're able to go within. That's why you might wake up with a dream of a dream where something that was really on your mind happened, but your dream exaggerated it and made it more than what the actual situation was, to let you know that this is something that's really on your mind and that you need to deal with this problem. You know what I'm saying? So it's about really doing that internal work and not expecting it to come from anybody else. It's not going to come from anybody else, no outside source. You have to close your eyes and go within, start meditating, start going into not isolation but into solitude, and understanding, because a lot of people who are stressed and depressed, especially if you don't have a spouse, like to be around other people. And misery loves company. You have to be in solitude. Your most happiness is going to come when you're by yourself. That's where a lot of your happiness is going to come from, when you're able to sit down and think with a clear mind, where nobody else is interacting you. So you because you have to love yourself before you can love anybody else. You have to have the utmost love for yourself. The love that you have in that cup has to be overflowing. You can't share no love in your cup until your shit is overflowing. You feel me? Until all that wealth and abundance is overflowing, then you can pour it. But if it's full and you pour it out, now you have full. Now you not happy. Now you quenching thirst. So you have to have self love before you can love anybody else. Otherwise, your cup might be half full and you might be like, you know what? I need to fill my cup back up and I need that back. You know what I'm saying? And you start building these feelings of resentment. So you have to find your own love. You have to go through that journey of eating right, because that's a part of loving yourself. That was part of my the really the first part of my spiritual journey. Was my first action was into going vegan, and that's why a lot of people's spiritual journeys start off going vegan, because that's the first step into loving yourself, is healing your body, the stuff that you put into your body. How can you say you love another person if you're destroying yourself? That doesn't add up. So now your concept of love is shattered. What is love? You know what I'm saying? This is the illusion. This is why you're experiencing all these emotions, because your concept and your perception of what you think reality is isn't reality. You know what I'm saying? You
Wow.
think you love yourself when you eating 3 times a day. You're not. Then you wondering why you feeling a certain type of way. So self-love starts with healing yourself from the inside out. Then you will have the energy to deal with the issues or stuff that you couldn't deal with before. Certain situations that just made you heated, as soon as you start talking about it, you didn't have the energy for it. That's what people say. I don't got to do this right now, because your body isn't in the state of love. Of course, you
Wow.
you don't have the compassion to listen to another person's issues or concerns and just listen to them, because you don't love yourself enough to sit down and listen to what you're saying on a day-to-day basis. So part of loving yourself is realizing that a lot of people don't love themselves. A lot of people are out here killing themselves on a day-to-day basis, mentally, physically, and spiritually, and try to project this energy on you. Solitude. Solitude. That's when you
Whoa.
You have to
Whoa.
take 3 months, 4 or 5 months away from everybody. You got to stop hanging out with everybody. If you really love yourself, you're gonna break your own heart breaking other people's hearts. That's just what it is. You're gonna break your own heart telling people no. You have to bring yourself to a place of solitude till your cup is running full, till your cup is overflowing. Because some people might not want to stop their bad habits, but you do. And if the people around you are doing it, it's not going to happen. You're going to constantly be influenced. That influence is strong because you think you love doing this. You feel me? Until you have abstinence, until you stop doing something for a while, is when you really realize how it's affecting you. You know what I'm saying? And
Bro.
that has to deal with TV, with people like, and me and my homeboys was talking like about the video game, like how it really can take over you. Like it was a certain point where I sold my PlayStation because I feel like I was spending too much time on it, and I didn't buy it back until I was at a place to where I can control how much. I would look up and be like, damn, I was on the game for 4 hours. Like I could have made 2, 3 beats. I could have did this, uploaded this, so I had to sell my game. And my homeboy was saying he did the same thing, and he was like, I went to go play the game, after not playing it for so long. He was like, bro, I can only play for like 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't entertaining me. So you have to remove yourself from everybody and everything to really know who you are and to see how it's affecting you.
Bro, you've literally like you're spitting so much facts right now. It's actually unreal. Um, I need to really rethink the things that I do as well because you've described me to a T almost. It really touched me when you're saying about how you have to give love to other people. You have to love yourself first, and that love. It's not about the knowing like, oh, I can say to myself, I love myself. But what am I doing? I'm eating unhealthy food. I'm watching, Netflix. I'm not prioritizing what I need to be doing. So that's not love. That's conditional love. And that that really just rings true with me. So I appreciate that.
No
Definitely.
problem, man.
Bro, you're gonna make me cry.
It get deep. It get deep.
It's actually bro, you're too wise. I honestly have no more questions, but I just wanna freestyle right now. Let me try and ask you something more personal. How do you get through? Well, the thing is, I think I would know the answer, but for anyone else who doesn't, how do you move through your trauma? Because trauma doesn't have to be anything serious. It can be this underlying thing that the way you react to situations. It can be stored in your body. It can be mental blockages. So for anyone who's experiencing that, who feels as if like there's something in them that needs to be healed, how do you heal it? Someone in the
Um,
comments keep shouting weed. Weed is the answer.
we'll get on that later. But as far as trauma goes, the best answer to trauma is literally, I'm gonna say, for me, was studying books, studying psychology, understanding the mind, understanding how it works, and what your brain is capable of doing that you're not conscious of on a day-to-day basis. Like, for example, it's certain things. It's a lot of psychological trauma that Black people go through from slavery. For example, it's possible and it's proven true that everything that you see is stored in your DNA. So when LeBron James is doing a crossover and he's shooting a three 100 times, your DNA is a notebook of everything that you know how to do or need to know how to do when it comes to bodily functions, shooting a 3-pointer, all this stuff. So it gets engraved. Like when you sledding down the hill, it creates a path in the snow, and that snow gets, every time you go down it, it gets more and more and more and more and more implanted. So when you have children, that that trail is implanted in them. So everything that you experience and that you see, we still go through things from, experience things that happened in slavery, mentally and physically. Like, I don't know if you guys ever read the Willie Lynch manual, but Willie Lynch was a man who wrote a book on how to enslave people for over 300 years, and he talks about how, yes, this is a real book. That's where you get the term lynching from, because this was a man. He actually created a manual on how to do it, and part of them have to do with creating jealousy and envy. Like we're going to make the slaves on the West Hill, we're going to say they're better than the slaves on the East Hill. And when you look today, 300 years later, you got people talking about East Side, West Side, and they think that this is something that they've created on their own. When really this is psychological trauma that your brain has been taught to keep doing. Like, for example, like light skin and dark skin. You know what I'm saying? That was in the Willie Lynch manual. Where we're gonna create envious between the light skinned slaves and the dark skinned slaves. So we're gonna put the light skinned slaves on the inside and make the dark skinned slaves on the outside. That's gonna create a jealousy and envy. We're gonna make the older slaves worse than the younger slaves. So now the older generation and the younger generation have a disconnect. And when you look today, all of that still exists. All of that still exists.
Wow.
So the trauma really has to do with history. You got to really be able to go into your history and see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like what happened in the past, because you can be fearful. Like a lot of black people are fearful of water. Why? You know what I'm saying? Like maybe because slave ships or something. You never know, bro. Like it's that type of knowledge that is that deep. But when it comes to like regular day-to-day trauma, like people have to understand that, for example, if you had a bad experience and you smoked during that bad experience, your brain recognizes that this is what helps me cope through negative experiences. You know what I'm saying? And what happens is, over time, when you're in a negative environment, after a while, your brain will tell you that this is normal or that this is okay to help you cope with it. So you could literally be in a fucked up state and your brain is telling you that it's okay. It's okay just to allow you to cope with it. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like when it comes to trauma, it really comes to history and studying the brain and studying the psychology, because it's about knowing how your brain works and what processes you need to take to heal. Because once you realize what it is and why you feel like that, that's the first step into healing it. Because now you know what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? It's not until you know what's wrong with you until you can start taking the steps into making it better.
The wisest guy I've ever spoken to.
Real talk. Appreciate it.
You've opened it up, man. You've opened up this whole new understanding for me, and to explain it in the way I understand what you're saying is look at history. Look into the history. You know, your brain 95% subconscious. Your DNA holds all your genes, your memories, your traumas. So everything that you're almost like a product of your DNA. Everything that's happened over the years, or over millennia, or even generations. So now this separation is almost imprinted into us, therefore imprinted into the world. And just look at how the 1% have control over the 99%, is because the 99% believe they're all separate from each other. That's how the 1% keep their control. And you look at the Illuminati, even if it's not real, even if you don't believe in the Illuminati, it's the all-seeing eye. It's like a pyramid. The 1% at the top, and then everyone at the bottom. It's like they know. The Illuminati means the illuminated ones, which means the enlightened ones. They know, but they're using this they're using the knowledge for evil, in my opinion. Not negative or whatever, but they're using it for mass control. And the change starts from within. It doesn't happen when you're going out protesting about Black Lives Matter. It doesn't matter when you're preaching about how Jesus died on the cross. It starts from within yourself. When you start breaking away from those chains, you're going to inspire other people, and eventually everyone's going to raise the vibrations in the end.
Facts.
Someone said this was better than my therapy session.
Real talk.
Let me just read out the comments here.
Okay.
Yeah, so people are talking about intergenerational trauma.
Somebody said, how do you feel for a chakra? Um, I can't say exactly because I've done it a little bit, but I'm not that well versed in that to honestly be giving instructions. But I can tell you where you definitely can look. You can look up something called Qigong. It's spelled Quiqong, and I don't know if y'all watch Naruto or any like ninja show, but they start talking about trigrams and all type of shit in there, like stuff that you would think is not real, but it's actually real. They talk about like all your chakra points, where they located, the flow of your chakra. So anybody that's interested in that, hold on, let me actually grab this book real quick. See if I can find it. This book right here. This is a great book. Y'all want to screenshot this? Let me see. How do I flip my screen? Flip camera. Okay, this book right here. The Root of Chinese Qigong. It's actually pronounced Qigong. This is for y'all if y'all don't screenshot that. But this is a let me flip my camera back. That is a good book for just knowing your energy and just like it's got a lot of shit in there. It even talks about like the torus field of the earth, like the earth's energy comes out of the top and goes down. So depending upon where you are placed on the earth, depends how you receive energy. If you receive it through your crown chakra or through your root chakra. And it made so much sense because like people in the South, their music is more like vibey, you know what I'm saying, and more energetic. It can sometimes be on the more sexual end, and on the North, it's like it's real metaphorical. It's real fast, you know what I'm saying? So that was one way that I looked at it. So like the energy, like if you're from the South, your energy comes up and out, and then if you're from the North, it comes down and out, and that has a play on how you think. You know what I'm saying? So it talks about, that book goes into depth a lot on that.
That sounds so interesting, man. There's so much. There's so many interesting things that you would never be taught. Think about how the education system is set up. I believe it's Rothschild who owns the education system, and he quoted that he doesn't want a nation of thinkers. He wants a nation of workers.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the person who made the education system. So that shows that we're being taught information that is only going to keep us in our own head, in our bodies, and working for this matrix, basically.
I know that. I also know my boy YP. He was doing this lecture, and another person who has their hands in the school system is, you know, Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice. Her father is big into our school system, like very big. Like you know those, it's like the I can't remember. It's not Scholastic. I don't want to say no name because I don't want to disrespect any brand, but one of those books that we always got in school was like his books. You know what I'm saying? And it's like that deep. It's that deep. I had posted some content earlier. Sigmund Freud, he's one of the people who's the head of our psychology system. He was like sexually abused and molested by his father when he was a little kid. And in his books, he teaches like how kids are sexually attracted to their parents. You know what I'm saying? At a young age. And it doesn't make sense because like once you realize that he was molested as a child by his father and stuff, it's like this is your psychology. You know what I'm saying? So it's like even the way that, well, Sigmund Freud, that was his name. He had a son, and now his son is the owner of Netflix. And you see all the shit that's going on Netflix. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It's crazy.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
It's on my last post on my page. You go on my page, I just posted about it.
So when you say the stuff going on Netflix, do you mean like Seaspiracy, all of these?
I'm talking about like all of the homosexuality and the pedophilia stuff that is going on Netflix.
That's being exposed.
Exactly.
Netflix seems to be on the good side, in my opinion. I've noticed that. The Midnight Gospel.
What do you mean on the good side?
you never know, but the intentions with the intentions, because for example, Dave Chappelle, you know, this is only like a small gesture in the grand scheme of things, but Dave Chappelle wanted his didn't want his show to be aired on Netflix because he wasn't paid, or he was like forced to do things in his contract that he didn't agree to and stuff like that. So he really spoke out on the industry, and Netflix, like, you know, paid him for his features and stuff. So like I feel like they're on the good side in that aspect, and they're also showing like Midnight Gospel, which is very spiritual. They're exposing the sea industry, seafood industry. Yeah, so I feel like they're helping raise awareness. You never know the true intentions with these big companies, though.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like it's a double-edged sword. Like the best lie is a lie mixed with the truth because it's hard to distinguish. You know what I'm saying? It's like when they were doing the Black Lives Matter riots. You know what I'm saying? Like were staged. You know what I'm saying? Some of those riots were staged. So it's like you got some people that's protesting for real out here that, you know, like, yeah, that is real. You know what I'm saying? But then you got the riots that's fake that's just making it look way bigger than what it is. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I feel the same way with Netflix. Like on one end, y'all showing support here, but on this end, y'all showing support here. You know what I'm saying? So it's like really I look at it as it's a game for them. It's a beneficial thing. It's like, well, we making money regardless, so we don't care. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
it's certain information that they're not going to put on Netflix. You know what I'm saying? So, but Netflix does have a lot of good titles though. Netflix does have a lot of good titles.
how do you distinguish between the truth and the false?
Like the Dark Force.
No, like, how do you distinguish between
Oh,
truth
false. You said
and
false. I thought you said force.
truth and lies? I should have worded it as on the internet. How do you distinguish between the two?
Um, it's just how it resonates with you. Like every time I've heard the truth, it was that moment of realization that you have in your brain. You know what I'm saying? Like once you get a new piece of information and you just like, oh, like that feeling, like you have to be in tune with your feeling. And it's just like it just makes too much sense, like it's just clicking for you. When it clicks and it just snaps in your brain, it's just like, yo, like this is just making too much sense. It just resonates with me so much. A lie is always going to be questionable. Like something about this just doesn't seem right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's also about deductive reasoning. You got to be able to look into what it is, you know, that's true, because some things may just seem true and it really wasn't, you know, but it may have had some truth to it. So like I said, once you cover a certain body of information, you have enough knowledge now to know what's not true and what is true. When you got enough information in science, you got enough information in spirituality, when you got enough information in reading, all those subjects are going to come. When you have enough information in the law of attraction, all those subjects is going to bring it to you. You know what I'm saying? Once you get in tune, it's going to start coming to you. You're not going to have to look for the truth. It's going to reveal itself to you. And that's just about aligning yourself to that frequency and making sure you on that manifesting frequency, not constantly thinking of negative thoughts. Being able to stop that negative thought and think about a positive one, and having a backup word in your brain like wealth, knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And retraining your brain and reconditioning your brain to think positively. That's going to bring the truth itself. You're going to attract what you want. You're not going to attract what you want. You're going to attract who you are.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, you've outlined a great deal of things here. So, is there any conclusion that you would bring to all of this?
I would say just tune in with yourself, y'all. Really sit down, meditate, turn on some binaural beats, allow the energy to come. I would not do anything that I'm not going to say that. I wouldn't do anything that you don't feel like doing. But that's how I am. Like, if I don't feel like doing anything today, I'm not doing anything. I go with what I feel like doing. That don't mean be lazy. That don't mean don't set any goals. But trust your instinct. Trust yourself. Trust your knowledge, because that above all else is going to lead you to the right path. Is when you trust your own instincts and follow your alignment.
That's so true. I feel the same way. Just follow your feelings. We have three brains. So we have our mind, we have our heart, and we have our gut. And they all have brain cells, I believe, don't they?
Facts.
So what you eat affects your mood, affects the way you feel. In regards to the heart, love increases your likelihood of making better decisions, being more in touch with your feelings, and your mind, just control it through discipline. That's one big thing. You can be in touch with your feelings and know it's time to relax. I do that all the time, to reset, recharge. And there are times when you have a purpose with your head, okay, I want to go for this, and you start visualizing. But sometimes what's tricky with the mind is you have that voice in your head that says, oh, you're right. Oh yeah, so you have that voice in your head that stops you from reaching. So just be in touch with your feelings, be in touch with your soul, and you'll get to places. And I think this is only the beginning. The world is changing.
Yeah, definitely.
Everything
People are
is
definitely
becoming
waking up around this time.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting times. We're almost in the Renaissance era. Because history repeats itself. We said that earlier. We said about history repeating itself. If the Renaissance happened with art and expression, or the hippie revolution happened, think about the 2020 revolutions, or the new coming of thought forms and just being more connected with the world. Just imagine, and with AI and technology coming, it's going to be very interesting times. So just evolve, adapt to the times, and you'll find a good place in this new world.
Disconnected.
No, everything good?
Yeah, my bad. I was trying to I was good.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, my phone was on 7%, but I'm good.
Personally, I have nothing else to elaborate on. I feel like keeping the conclusion short and sweet is the best. Just love, positive emotions, smile through adversity. Just be, look after yourself, because it all starts from within. But is there anything that you feel is very important to tell the others?
Yeah, I think we about covered it. I'm looking into the comments right now. I'm just seeing what everybody's talking about.
Go on.
What's up, y'all? But yeah, no, I think that's about good. That's about good.
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed that, and I've learned so much. I went for a roller coaster of emotions there, and I'm sure people who've been sticking around are going through the same thing. So I really appreciate you. I hope we can keep in touch and we can sort something out in the future. Bless you on your journey. I love you so much. Thank you for all your wisdom. It's life changing.
You too, dog.
Yeah, everyone's saying they appreciate us. So the love is all around.
Real talk. And I'm gonna say another thing too, y'all. This is happening in the United States and the United Kingdom right now. Like, we connecting around the world. You feel me? This shit is big for real. This is big. Like, it's people out there that think like y'all. It's people that think like just like us. You know what I'm saying? So realize that it's just we all scattered around.
Yes.
We able to use this tool to connect with each other. So just know, y'all, it's possible. Don't ever be doubtful. Remember that you manifesting the energy that you thinking. So put that energy and that thought into something positive. Don't think about nothing negative, because that's all you will attract. That's the state you will create. So just stay positive. Another thing I wanted to say too is I make music too. I'm an artist. That's originally what I do. So make sure y'all go check out all my music on all platforms. I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, all streaming platforms. Just look up my name. Is Double R the God, 2 R's the God. And go follow me, play my music. All my music is on SoundCloud. But my most recent stuff, my most recent albums are on the major platforms. So yeah, just go check that out, and make sure y'all subscribe to my YouTube page. Go subscribe to his YouTube page. The links are in our TikTok with the little Instagram icon, so you can follow us there on both. And yeah, just tap in, y'all, subscribe, and turn on the notification bells. Oh, one more thing. I'm gonna be uploading and going into depth on my website pretty soon. I will be uploading all my videos, my TikTok videos on my website, just in case. And I'll be doing a subscription to where I'll be going into full depth of words and spells. I won't just be doing 1-minute videos. I'll be going into depth into it, like how we did on this live stream, which it'll be like an hour or two long. So make sure y'all look up for that. I'll be giving a heads up when that's coming.
Thank you so much, man. Someone's saying hi from South Africa. There's people here from America, Canada. The whole world is involved, man. It starts with planting the seed. But thank you so much, and I'll definitely call you after this as well to clarify some things. And thank you. Appreciate it.
You know it. All right, fam.
Great content. Peace out.